Thank you for joining us today. This is Worth the Admission podcast. My name is B. Frank.
And I'm Travis. Oh, did I tell you I started watching Gotham again?
Oh, nice.
I'm in season 2, episode 4.
I'm sitting down for a second. Season 2, episode 4.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, once it gets past seasons, like the last 2 seasons are really good because you get out of the, oh my god, is Bruce Wayne going to make it? Mentality that they kind of force on you those first couple seasons.
Yeah, but he's a brat in this second season so far. I mean, he's learning to control it, but I want to beat the shit out of that little fucker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just does not get it. But it's kind of cool to see him get it, though, at the same time. You know, just in like that first episode where he freaks out on Gordon and they kind of have that moment, and then you can see by the end of the episode, like, at least in this sense, he's learning to communicate with people. You can see he's being groomed. It's pretty cool. I want to watch that. Isn't there an Alfred show coming out?
Yeah, I think it's called Pennyworth.
See, I have my finger on the pulse.
And I don't know anything about Epix, which is the network that is doing it.
See, here's the thing.
It looks interesting.
I know Epix because I thought they were a real competitor to like HBO and things like that. They only have one channel, but I mean they were putting out like The Rock's Hercules movie when it was still somewhat new. You know, it was its time for it to be on TV, but they had it right away and they were showing good movies all the time when I would sit down and watch those movies. So I know them from they have a pretty good pull. They had more the newer section of what like FX is. They just got the better newer movies sooner, a little bit sooner. So that's all I remember them from, and I liked them. I mean, that's when we used to have cable, and I liked it. I mean, but I never see them really put anything out, or I don't see their name as a staple for, wow, I really have to
original.
watch. Yeah, they have a great show that everybody's talking about.
All right, you want to head in?
I thought we were heading in. I was just gonna let us.
You thought we were heading in?
No, I was just gonna let us just slide right in. It was just a smooth transition, you know. Hey.
Well, I didn't want to like start things off. Then you're like, I wasn't done, motherfucker.
No, I thought we were just. I like the chit chat. I thought we were just doing the chit chat thing, you know, podcasting, friendship, first and foremost.
I mean, if you say so.
Oh wow. Yeah, what are you gonna get hit big time and just dump me?
Hit by a bus, maybe.
Yeah. No.
And then they'll dump me.
No, I was gonna say like House of Cards. Spoiler if you never watched House of Cards, that season 2 episode 1 where he pushes her right off into the train and kills her. The Zoe, I forget her name. I forget her character's name, but yeah, he killed her, just pushed her right in front of a moving train. It was terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's an effective way to do it.
Yeah, that's a bitch.
If you're gonna do it.
No, that's if you're gonna kill me, do it to my face. You know what I mean? I don't want to get pushed and I had not have a chance to defend myself. If you're gonna kill me, you're gonna kill me regardless.
That's why you are the one pushing. You make sure you're the one pushing.
Well, yeah, because my thing is, if you don't fucking kill me, I'm gonna come after you and kill you. It's kill or be killed.
No, I think a train is fairly permanent.
Hey, I'm waiting for that purge to happen, man. Just,
dude. Next year.
Speaking of which, you're into those movies. I think we should watch those movies and we should talk about them because I've never seen them. I've only seen the first one.
That's interesting. You could skip the newest one. I mean, they're not great movies by any means. The first one is the best.
Well, no, I'm saying we still talk about the TV show too. I haven't watched the TV show either. I didn't even know there was a TV show until I looked it up and I said, hey, there's a TV show about the Purge. That tells you how much stuff there is on there's too much stuff to consume. I didn't know that there was a Purge show. And it's on USA. Am I wrong?
No, okay. It was pretty good too.
Now, is it canceled? Is it coming back?
It's coming back sometime this year. I think end of this year for season 2. It got renewed, I think, before season 1 ended.
That's fair. I'm just waiting to see Arrow get finished up and move on with our lives.
Yeah, they finally had a good episode this week.
Now, I haven't watched that, so you're going to have to catch me up because I only watched, like I said, I only watched till the crossover, and then after that I didn't care anymore. It wasn't that good. It was not good.
The crossover?
No, I liked the crossover, but the Arrow show in particular sucked.
Season 6 was not that good. First half of season 7 was pretty good, and the last half, give or take a couple episodes, have been dog shit.
To me, I only really cared about the first couple seasons. And then I got really tired of the fucking flashbacks every single episode for years. I mean, I know there's a lot to tell, but either tell us or don't tell us. I don't need these little snippets every week where you're just like, he's in a room and now he's here. It's like, I don't care. I really don't. They're not meaningful to the story. They don't advance his character. They're just
the little ones.
No.
The little ones didn't need to be there, but I enjoyed that they tied into the season. That was my favorite part about it. I was like, if you're gonna have them, at least they're relevant, and we're not just seeing it to see.
Well, and then I got spoiled with the Flash. Not all of it, but I missed out on a lot, and I'm waiting for it to hit Netflix, which is supposed to hit when I fly out to DC.
I think 2 weeks.
It's supposed to be out there. Well, I'm gonna have it on the plane to watch, but I mean, I'm behind on that, and I got spoiled. The only thing I got spoiled on was Flash sending his daughter back because of something that she did, or her working with Reverse Flash, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a little hazy on all the details. It's been a while since I've actually sat down and watched it, but
it's been an interesting season. There have been ups and downs. This whole year in writing has been a little weird.
What do you think?
I don't know. Just a lot of writing. Some of it's been really good, but then some of it has just felt lacking. I don't know what it is. I haven't been able to pinpoint it. It's just the writing has not been that great.
Well, whenever you think about having bad writing, you just go and watch Endgame, and then everything makes sense in the world again, because that movie is just so damn good. It's not perfect, but it's really good. I can live with it.
Well, I think it's based on the Far From Home trailer. I think what's happening, like some of the things that weren't explained in Endgame are going to pop up. Like in the trailer, they start talking about the multiverse.
Oh, I know. That blew my... Oh, it didn't really... I mean, it blew my mind because that's big. You can bring Tony Stark back.
And
spoiler.
DC...
Actually,
I've been saying to DC...
We really need to do an Endgame thing because this is... I think this is the perfect time. We're almost to past spoiler territory. I'm even giving people an extra week.
On Monday this week, the spoiler ban lifted.
Yeah, but I'm still being courteous. Like... There's a guy at work that I work with that every time I mess with him or he gets on my ass about something because he's my boss. I literally was saying, so the opening scene starts with Hawkeye and his family in a field, and you see Hawkeye playing. I mean it doesn't spoil. I mean it really doesn't spoil anything because we already know they float away, but we get to see it from that point of view. But I that's what I do to people. I'm still being courteous, but I'm getting impatient because I need to talk about, Iron Man dying, Cap, wielding,
Mjolnir.
Yes.
Mjolnir.
Fat Thor Lebowski.
Yeah.
My favorite thing ever. And they made a Thor Lebowski pop figure or a Fat Thor pop figure that's coming out.
I believe that.
No. Spoiler to everybody. So, because they even... which was cool for Funko to do. They actually put a spoiler thing above their post to be like, hey, this is going to spoil a lot of stuff. They have Iron Man like this when he's about to do the snap. And that's him awesome. As a variant in every color of the Infinity Stones. All of them. That's
really cool.
And I don't know how to get them all, but I want them. And they also have him like this towards the end. But I thought that was cool.
Hanging on the Disney train. I mean, we got a hell of a schedule this week for kind of the 3 big franchises that they have.
Yes. Because here on Worth the Admission, we care about Disney a lot. Because Disney cares about us. I can tell you because they made me cry at the end of Endgame very heavily.
We're getting two. I think we're getting 2 Marvel movies in 2020, 3 in 2021, and 3 in 2022.
I'm okay with that.
Which is kind of what they've been doing, like, because I think not having one next year is because Sony is technically releasing Spider-Man, so it's not technically a Marvel Studios produced movie, but it's still part of the MCU. Yeah, after that we don't know what's coming out. It's just stuff is coming out.
And I think the coolest thing, which some people may agree or not agree, is I think it's awesome we get a cool Star Wars or a new Avatar movie for, X amount of years now, which to me I like that. We're taking a break from Star Wars for a little bit after this wraps up this year. And I mean, it's been forever since we've seen Avatar, which makes me wonder.
2009.
I understand he's taking this much time, but I mean, it took you a long time to do the first Avatar, and you're trying to do another 4 movies. I think 4, 5.
He's
5
been
total,
working.
Right?
He's been doing, I think, 2 and 3 shot back to back, like for a while, if not all 5 of them somehow.
I'm just saying this: if this movie doesn't blow me away, I'm going to be surely disappointed. I mean, you're making us wait.
Well,
I get it. People don't like it. People want to reference Fern Gully and all this other things. As a movie itself, I thought it was great. And it still holds up to me. I like watching it. It's a long movie, but I still think it's very good. It's cool to have cool sci-fi stuff. Now, I understand it's taking a long time, but that's my fear is I've got this built up. If you've got another 4 movies planned and they've already been financed and you're making them, they better be really, really, really good. Because if I have to wait 10 years between movies, which is 12 years by the time it comes out?
Something like that.
Yeah, because it was 2009 when it released. I mean, still.
2021.
Yeah, so still, you're talking 12 years. I understand it's not just this one, there's all the others. But, I mean, you're saying, what if something changes, or you have to reshoot something, or...
You're basically settling down Avatar.
Yeah, it's just...
what you're doing.
But if this one sucks, no one's going to go see 3, no one's going to see 4, and no one's going to go see 5. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't think they're going to be bad. I have faith in James Cameron, because he's James Cameron, and I know how much he put into it, so I'm excited about it. But yeah, it's nice.
I know a lot of it's going to take place underwater,
which is so dope.
I think majority of all the movies.
Which is really crazy to me because I don't know where else they would go. But again, I haven't dove into that world of Avatar other than just watching the movie and just being a fan of it. But I mean, you have that, and with Disney Plus coming out, we're still going to get our Marvel fix with the TV shows, and definitely with Star Wars for right now, and the time being with the fillers with like the Mandalorian, and I'm sure we're going to have other Star Wars related projects come out that we're going to want to see. So, I mean, we've got plenty of stuff, and just that's a long time to plan in the future. I mean, 2027. I mean, you're shooting. Well,
you're basically taking away every December for the next 6 years. You're saying every December is meant for these from us. So they really, I mean, the thing is getting Fox and having Marvel and redoing all their old cartoon movies and live action. So one way or another, they're going to have to start slowing down. Otherwise, they're going to have their own property fighting each other in theaters. And I think just like how Solo did. Solo didn't do well because they came out with it a week after Fox released Deadpool and 3 weeks after Infinity War.
Yeah, so it's too much at one time.
And you're gonna have to balance that.
But you're Disney. And I think that's the other case. Disney are saying we're so big and we have so much confidence in this. Hey, this is what you're going to get, and this is what you're going to like, and this is what you're still going to go see no matter what. Because it doesn't matter. All of us are still going to go see at least Avatar 2, and I don't know past that. But everybody's going to go see another Star Wars movie, even though I understand the transition's been rough from being at Disney because I don't feel like their first films didn't do the greatest, or they felt more forced than anything else. I do still like the Star Wars movies, but they just don't have that character in the movie itself that's going to last a long time like the originals. I mean, even the
Yeah.
even the original or the prequels in the early 2000s, those still have their own charm in them. Even if people don't like them or don't like them, I will still sit down and watch them to this day because they're still part of the trilogy. With these new ones, I've seen it once or twice, but I don't feel like I need to see it 10 or 20 times. That might be just a bad Star Wars fan, but those movies are long. And if I have the choice between watching a Star Wars movie or a Marvel movie, Marvel, you've given me Infinity War, Endgame, Age of Ultron, and the Avengers. Just those are just the big ones. Like, I would rather watch any of those any day of the week because they've done a story better to me than Star Wars has. That's a lot of releases, though. Oh no, we're not doing the outro yet. That's usually what you do when we wrap this up. We're just getting started today because we have a lot to talk about. We have Spider-Man, the new Far From Home trailer, which, spoilers, we're gonna get into it because it does actually pertain a lot to what happened in Endgame, and I think we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Of course, we've got your Game of Thrones recap. What's that Zac Efron movie that's on Netflix right now that I've watched and loved? It's a very long name.
Extremely wicked, shockingly vile. Extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile.
I thought you weren't going to get that right the first time. I was right. It's okay, though, because I can't say it at all. We both watched that, and I think we both have a lot to talk about on that one. We'll spend a minute. Just tell me where you want to dive
I really enjoyed it. Honestly, the biggest thing for me was that it wasn't... I thought it was going to be about him killing people. And it wasn't. It was about the trial, but it still showed the kind of person that he was throughout that entire thing. And it's like he was very intelligent, obviously, but I loved how he played it all the way to the end.
I know it's a bold statement here, but that's one of my favorite Zac Efron performances. Yes, I know we've seen him as a young kid in High School Musical, and we even saw him in a bunch of crappy, comedies with like bad, Dirty Grandpa and Mike and David Need Wedding Dates. But getting him to actually see him stretch his acting muscles, he's terrifying because you have to think he's portraying this man, and he does a very accurate job. I mean,
yeah. They showed all the clips at the end too.
And the one thing I loved about this movie is, if you've seen it, we're going to get into a little bit, so a little bit of spoilers. If you don't want to hear about it, I mean, obviously the case is...
Skip ahead a minute.
Yeah, skip ahead a little bit. I liked that they made him... He denied in his head the entire time. You know what I mean? It was always, oh, that was never me. And he played that so well because he played it so close to the vest. You never got that feeling that, oh, that's really him. He really makes you believe until the very end when he finally reveals his true self just in that small scene. But I think throughout that entire movie, I mean, the indictment scene where he gets to speak for himself, and it's just this close-up shot as it pans in on him. He's
playing the media.
As he's tearing up, as he's saying this, I mean, it was so stone cold. I mean, you felt what he felt, as in he felt unjust, but you also know you are so guilty. It's not even funny.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is the entire movie is like you want to see that this isn't lining up, but at the same time you're like, we know for a fact that this guy is a bad guy.
And it just seems like you can never catch him. You can never catch him in the act, and they did a good job of kind of playing that. Not too close to where it was like, oh, we really get caught. It was more, yeah, he got caught, but fighting through all of this, he still tried to be that same person. You could tell the inner struggle to be a normal person and a complete psychopath at the same time. And
did he do it after all?
Yeah, and it puts that seed of doubt in there. Though obviously we know it's not. He was guilty. We've gone through all of that. You watched the movie. It will give you all the other information. But between his performance and I forget the lady who co-starred.
Oh man.
She's
Lily.
You're right with the first name. Anyway, she plays a great job because, she
Lily
falls,
Collins.
Yeah, Lily Collins. Oh yeah, that's Phil Collins' daughter. I forgot. I can't believe I didn't think of that. No, she does a great job of this because this is I mean, her performance is just as, captivating. Because you're seeing her being ripped from just a normal girl who was just going out to a bar and saw a guy to this. And it plays, it moves along at a good pace throughout the entire movie. And I thought her arc overall is just so heartbreaking. It really is. There's nothing else to put it, because you see just what this man does to her, and just what he the effects on her life that she goes across the span of this time frame.
Well, she feels duped.
Oh yeah,
she feels duped is what she feels, and I mean that's kind of there's really nothing you could do about it at that point, especially for something as someone as sociopathic as a serial killer of that caliber. There's no way that you really could have known.
Yeah, and to me, if you see with her at first, she's like empathetic, and she's like, no, this can't be true, no, this is not true, we're gonna fight this. And then more and more come out, and then more and more cases, and then this gets bigger, and now she goes from, I can't leave, I don't know what to do. How would you feel knowing that the man that you thought was your perfect soulmate is this monster? It's just so good, so well done. I really enjoy it. It was a good mix between documentary and movie, and you don't get that a whole lot. And I know Netflix took a lot of care when they bought this movie up to put it out, and it shows that money was well spent, because I really enjoyed it. I would even watch it again, because I think it has so much detail into
it. What did you think of the It Part 2 teaser?
Terrifying. Nope. I will go see it, and I'm not the man I used to be. I used to love scary movies, but they have surpassed what I can handle as a level of scariness, because it's cool. This trailer was different. This was a scene, or at least, and I thought that was really awesome.
It was a quick scene before the trailer, and it really shows how scary the moment is. I remember watching that in the original movie/TV movie, and it's a good scene, and it's just kind of her first time back in Derry, and to see that moment if that is the least scary moment that we are gonna see, then I'm completely down. I remember seeing the first one, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I actually saw that one in theaters. Surprisingly enough, boys and girls, I actually do go out and see movies every once in a while. But I want to talk about the suspense they do such a great job nowadays. When horror's done right, that suspense, when they're sitting on the couch and she talks about, I forget the line that she says about death, and you think something's going to happen, and that tense, they draw that tense out, and then the scene just continues. I just think for what a trailer's supposed to do, it drew me in further. I mean, you still get bits and pieces of the movie throughout the trailer at the end, but that scene was really cool.
Yeah, it was. Well, and I didn't realize Bill Hader was in it either. I knew that they had a big cast, but I didn't realize that Bill Hader was also a part of it. I knew John McAvoy and Bryce Dallas Howard, Jessica Chastain. Pretty sure it's Jessica Chastain.
Yes, it is. No, is it?
I don't know.
Oh, don't do this to me.
Somebody fact check
me. Speaking of which, that's a great segue too. Yeah, because I was very excited that Bill Hader's in this movie. Speaking of which, I will get to what I'm enjoying right now from him. But I'm excited. This is a pretty diverse cast. I think you have a bit of funny, and I think you have a bit of serious, but I think they're all great actors, and I think it's going to play well. You don't get a horror movie with this kind of A+ talent in it too often. So
you don't.
You might get one big name actor, and then a lot of unknown names, but all these people we've seen, like McAvoy in Glass, even in Split, he can play those very terrifying characters. It's going to be weird to see him not play the aggressor in this.
Yeah, and play the victim.
Yeah, and so I'm excited to see things like that are just, as people who like to watch movies, it's these movies come along not too often anymore where you get a cool cast like this. So I'm excited. But speaking of Bill Hader, I finally started watching Barry, and
that was a good choice. New season's been good.
Yeah, it's such a good show. I'm about 5 episodes in on the first season, and I am enjoying it a lot. I won't spoil it for anybody else because I honestly don't know enough to really spoil it for anybody. But essentially, he's just a hitman who comes out to Los Angeles on a contract. The person he's trying to take a hit from is an actor in an acting class. He goes in, falls in love with it, and he tries to become an actor in an acting group. Who's the lead? The teacher is played by the Fonz. I can't think of his name.
Man, I think we went through this last week too.
Yes, we did. Damn, we're gonna. I feel
Henry
sorry.
Winkler.
Yes, there it is. Yes, who was nominated? I think he actually won for Barry. Didn't
won
he
an Emmy.
Yeah. Which is so bad I can't remember the man's name. I'm ashamed. So, but yeah, that's a great show. There's also another show on HBO that I want to talk about real quick, just to get people up on. If you're someone like me who also enjoys the half documentary, half actual, show, well-produced show, like that Netflix movie, on HBO we have a show called Chernobyl, which is about the a nuclear reactor explosion in, I think it was Block 4, and I've always been fascinated about Chernobyl because it's uninhabitable, and it's not going to be inhabitable for the next 20,000 years if this planet lasts that long. It's so insane to me, just the destruction. I mean, I think still the creepiest picture is the playground that's been sitting there since, with the Ferris wheel, and it's
FUBAR.
It's terrifying. I know there's been horror movies on it, but this is gonna actually a real life of places, the moments that take place in time. You actually hear the first 911 call and the emergency calls that something happened. It is terrifying. It is set very dark, so it is a very dark show. Not as dark as Game of Thrones season 8 episode 3. We won't get into that again, but it's very good. It's worth your time. The first episode was just on Sunday night. I think it's 8 parts, but that's my get up on if anybody's interested in trying a new show for the summer or into the summer.
And also, the trailer for Watchmen on HBO came out too. Quick teaser.
HBO's killing it this week.
They really, they need to keep people after Game of Thrones gets over.
I'm in it for the long haul with with Barry right now because I'm still watching that, and with Chernobyl. And they've also got good movies on there as well too. And I mean, they've got plenty of great TV shows. There's nothing that you can't find on there to watch. That Watchmen trailer, let's get into it a little bit. It's kind of weird to see all the Rorschachs all at once with the mask on. It was
yeah.
They don't give you a whole lot. I mean, we don't have a release date yet. We've just got fall of this year, right? I believe they said it's coming
something
fall
like that.
This year. But I'm very interested in this. I'm hoping it's one of those things that we wish we want. We didn't know we wanted. I'm hoping it's one of those. So that I am looking forward to it. But I'm hoping they do it justice. I do really like the Watchmen movie. I think it's one of Zack Snyder's few crowning achieving moments. So, at least
besides Sucker Punch.
Oh, I love Sucker Punch. I don't care. Fight me on it.
How about that?
All right. Well, now we'll get into Game of Thrones. I only got a chance to watch it once this week, unfortunately. I did get a chance to see it though.
I got to watch it twice. It is titled "The Last of the Starks."
Yes, go ahead and take it away, sir.
It's a very interesting title to choose, just because of kind of how everything plays out. There was a lot of information and a little bit of action, but the action that took place obviously was devastating, if I could use that word.
Yes, it was. Oh, heartbreaking.
We did spend more time in Winterfell than I thought we would. I thought we were going to get a big dose of Cersei just because it's all been about Winterfell, but I also understand why we haven't seen her based on why we see her this episode.
I think she's going to be mainly in these last two. I think she had a heavy first episode, and she wasn't. I don't think was she used in episode 2 and 3. I know she wasn't used in 3.
No, she wasn't in 2 either.
She wasn't in 2.
She was just in
in
episode
3.
1.
She was only in a little bit in this one, and not towards the end, which we'll get into. But I mean, it's been a while, so it's when someone disappears like that and comes back up, it usually means that their arc is rising, and it definitely is in this episode. But let's start off at the top.
Well, we start off at like in the fields of Winterfell. John gives us pretty badass speech about how they were the shield that guarded the realms of men, which was awesome because that's part of the oath for the Night's Watch. Um, everybody important. We got to see their either body or their face as they lit the bodies on fire, since they can't bury them. And then we kind of get a strange dinner scene. And I say strange because as soon as it started, my head went to the Red Wedding. I was like, this feels like the Red Wedding. Why does this feel like the Red Wedding? Funny enough, the same director directed this episode, also did The Reigns of Castamere, which was the Red Wedding. So, but I was like, is somebody going to die right now?
It's Game of Thrones, so it's very possible. I mean, they can kill
very
anybody
possible.
at any point in time. Yeah, this was a really interesting scene. And I think for the most important arc that carried through this episode was Daenerys. I think we saw a deep separation, and we won't spoil anything else, but this is kind of the first culmination point that you see the dominoes starting to fall, at least in her head. Something's brewing. And
the dominoes of madness.
I think the biggest scene here is when you see at the end of during this dinner scene where you see Jon off with his boys kind of celebrating, and everybody's kind of gone off and done their own thing, and you just see Daenerys just sitting there by herself, just kind of, she looks back and Jon her kind of have that look in a moment, but you can kind of tell the loneliness. This isn't where she's supposed to be. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like her home, and it's not made to really feel like
she
her
feels
home.
out of place.
So I thought in that scene tipped the scales in the right way, and I thought her progression throughout the episode was really good.
Yeah, in that scene too, you kind of see from her perspective, she's looking around, you see everybody, mingling and talking to each other, and she starts to, I don't know, you kind of start to see her crack a little bit. She's like, this does feel off. And then she makes Gendry Lord of Storm's End, which was a very political move, as she basically tells Tyrion, she's like, I'm clever too. And then Sansa gets up and walks out. And right after that scene, we see Jon and Daenerys for the first time alone since Jon told her who he was. And they kiss a little bit, and he kind of backs her off. She says, he basically tells her that she is his queen. Like, there's nothing that's going to change that. And obviously, as someone who doesn't really want to give up the throne, she says, don't tell anybody. And when he says, I need to tell Arya and Sansa, she kind of says, well, you need to swear them to secrecy. Otherwise, it's going to explode. And no matter how many times you bend the knee, nobody is going to see you as nothing less than a king. Yeah. And so you start to see those little bits from her.
Yeah, and it's very heavy, too. And you can see the struggle in power. You can even see it at the beginning of the episode when you just see Sansa, Daenerys, and Jon just sitting at the head of the table. It's like, it's all,
nobody
that whole
looks
power.
Happy.
Yeah, and it's just like that whole power struggle. It's like, cool, they make you forget so quickly about the war in the last episode. You don't feel a lot of fallout of that. I mean, yeah, we catch up with everybody, but it's not lingering. It's more, okay, that's over with. Now the bigger game is
the last
being played.
war.
Yeah, and I thought that's just being done so well. But Arya, she turns down her booty call, which I thought is obviously very proper. We thought that she's not one to be tied down, and she kind of explains that she's not a lady. That's not her scene. That's not what she's going to be, and she can't be that. And I thought that was a really cool. I'd like to see the maturity, which for her, even though everybody was grossed out about her love scene, it's cool to see where she started at to where she's at now. People just have been on that ride. It's nice to see her get her payoffs in those other ways that's not always big and story based.
And a little nostalgic, like we got her riding back with the Hound to King's Landing. So that's going to be, I think everything is gonna have to clash, obviously, in the very last episode. So I'm very excited to see how all that happens. But I did. One of my favorite scenes was the scene where John tells Bran to tell Arya and Sansa what the news is. And that scene alone really set the tone for, I think, the rest of the episode on Jon's side.
Yeah. I mean, this whole episode felt weird for Jon. You know, it's just such a hard power struggle, and they make you feel it. He knows what he is, and it's just, at what point are we going to see him either fully become that, or is he going to die and fall before he ever gets the chance to make up his mind? And
I think him or Daenerys is going to have to die, one way or another, because I think she's going mad, especially after everything that happened.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing, is who's going to stop a dragon lady?
Another Targaryen.
Yes. So, I don't know. It's one of those things you still can't speculate. We're no closer, though we're another
finding
episode
out,
closer to the end.
Theorizing.
It's just, are we going to see Arya for the next episode? Are we going to see her, or are they just going to ride off and we're not going to see much of her and Hound until the very end? You know, is she going to pull another out of nowhere moment? You know, there's too many questions. There's too many storylines. I have another question. I have another question for you because this felt awkward to me. What about Jaime and
Brienne?
Yeah.
I'm, like Tyrion said, I'm happy he's happy. I think it was either going to be her with Jaime or Tormund. But
yeah, we knew that wasn't going to happen, though. It never felt right.
No.
Nothing ever felt right. And this, not
the
even
thing
this
is,
feels
too,
right.
is it's quite the road for Jaime as well. Even him leaving at the end saying, like, everything has been about Cersei, I don't think he's going back to try and save Cersei. I think he's going back to try and stop her however he can.
Yeah, well, I mean, we even see in this episode that you see Jaime and Tyrion sitting in a pub kind of talking, and this is where he kind of tells her about Brienne, and we see, I forget the gentleman's name, you're better at names. Bronn. Come in
the Blackwater.
Yes, come in with the crossbow. And essentially is Tyrion and his, ever clever self decides that he's going to offer something in return if they don't die, but they do have to win the battle first. And I thought that was kind of it's a
very Bronn thing to do,
but it wasn't talked about a lot. We found it's one of those things. I think it's going to come up and it's going to be a big moment towards the end, but I think it's building so slowly. She put out the hit in the first episode, and now we see him show up now, and it hasn't been talked about since. It's just one of those things that it's going to be heartbreaking because no one's going to think about it, and either one or both of them's going to die.
We also got a big daisy chain of information, kind of like the gossip trail, because we get Jon, who tells Arya and Sansa. Arya doesn't say anything about it. 5 minutes later, Sansa obviously spills the beans to Tyrion. Tyrion tells Varys, and at the point where they're talking on the boat, Varys is like, "What? At this point, it's information. It's not a secret anymore." And so, with that line alone, 8 people know somebody else is bound to, and then it's going to spread. Yeah. So I think that's what's going to be Daenerys' downfall into like finishing off her madness is.
You think that's
now
be the final
everybody
nail in the
doesn't
coffin?
see her as queen. I think it's possible.
Man. Oh, so what's the next? What's the length of the next 2 ones? Are they both an hour and 22?
Yeah, it's supposed to be about an hour 20. This one I think clocked in at like 117, 118, but yeah, about 120.
It's a long episode. I don't think people realize that. And it feels that it goes by so quick, even though it's a slow-moving show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I want to talk a little bit more, because I know we're jumping all over the place, but I want to talk about you just kind of mentioned it, the nails that are going in Dany's coffin as she's going crazy. Because we lost another one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
And
We are now down to one of 3 original dragons.
yes,
And
this one was a tough one.
It was surprising. I felt, watching the episode, I was like, everything seems too good right now. And then the first arrow hits. And then the second arrow hits the chest, and the third one hits through the neck. I was like, oh, Rhaegal's dead. And Dany tries to go down there and try and burn all the ships, but every ship in the Euron Greyjoy fleet has one of these, and they're shooting. And when she flies off, they start shooting over at all the ships, and pretty much decimate most, if not all, of the ships headed that way at Dragonstone.
Yeah, and that was a big moment too. But it's almost a metaphor too. There's only room for one person. There's only room for one dragon, and there's only room for one person to ride that dragon. And who's it gonna be? And so, that's just more metaphorical of it. But it's just that was another scene where she was more heartbroken, but just that you could see the anger and the madness start to come out. That's when I felt the turn for her into the madness.
This episode was about her starting to lose. When it was on her side, it was about her starting to lose, especially with how everything plays out there at the end, which is another moment after the ships get decimated. We find out that Missandei is gone. She's not with the surviving members. Right after that, we find out that Cersei has her. At that moment, I was like, okay, she's dead. And that is essentially what ended up happening. Although Tyrion has, I think, one of the best surprising lines towards Cersei, because he starts talking about the pregnancy.
Oh,
and the only way he would have known about a pregnancy is if they had spoken when they were there, however long ago in season 7. And so I think Euron is going to start to turn against Cersei, and we're going to see kind of a struggle on that end too.
See, it's one of those, I think whoever wins really is going to be the biggest loser, because you may have won the war, but you've lost everything in between. And
at what cost?
Yeah, and that's what's going to have to happen. I'm excited. This has been a really good season. I mean, and everybody loves Tyrion anyway, but Peter Dinklage has absolutely just murdered this season. He's such a great actor,
Oh yeah, I'm scared for Tyrion. Because I think my roommate said it first, and he said that if it comes down to it, Tyrion could die trying, in loyalty to Dany. And it's because you kind of see his loyalty to her when him and Varys are both talking on the ship, because Varys says, Jon could be better. And at that moment, Tyrion goes, "We are talking about treason." And at that moment, you kind of see whose side is he going to fall on. If he switches again, if he switches to Jon's side, is he any better than anybody else who just switches? Or is he going to die being loyal? And so it's going to be, I think it's an underlying story that is going to come to a head there, either in the next episode or in the finale.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, how conniving he can be. I mean, what better way to make a shock and awe moment is to do something that you don't expect him to do. It's one of those, he's capable of anything. And though I feel the remorse, and I think that's one of the great things with his character this season, is you felt the remorse, and you feel, he can tell, he knows he's on borrowed time. It almost feels like he's okay with how this is wrapping up. Almost like he knows the end is imminent, and he knows he's going to die. And not just in the last battle, and just talking throughout the end of the season, you can tell he's more, I would not like to die, but if I do, which is probably going to happen, I'll be okay with it.
Yeah. It may suck, but I'm ready.
Yeah, it's still not like he's saying, oh, I'm going to die. I mean, because he very well may not. He might still, they keep questioning up whether he's clever and who's being clever. And you get a lot of these lines. We've had them one line each episode about, You know, oh, you used to be clever, or recall back to those. And I think it really is. Someone's going to have to make a move that we never thought would happen. I just hope it doesn't go too... Go ahead.
I want to see... I'm very curious where John ends up, both obviously physically and mentally, because his whole story arc has been about defeating the White Walkers, going beyond the wall, and he even says when he's saying his goodbyes to Tormund, I wish I was going north with you. And so he's never had to really fully battle person to person like that. As long as we've known him, he's always been fighting for the living. So at this point, he's fighting living with living. So I'm curious if that's going to take a mental toll on him as well.
Yeah, no, this was a great episode, and I feel overall we still got places, and I just feel like they're just tightening the rope now. You know, we can kind of see things starting to form or create our own theories a little bit more, and I think that's what they want. I'm hoping they do a twist, because this is just what Game of Thrones does, and they can do what they want, and I'm hoping that we get something more. I know that last episode is going to be, obviously, the coup de grace. You know, that's going to be the pinnacle. But I'd like to see a good build-up episode. No one has to die, but I want to see, okay, where is this going to go? Are we going to have a war? Because the way it seems like right now, we may not have a war. This may be just...
Like, it's going to be quick if it is.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be chaos. I don't think there's any war. I mean, even though the war is chaos, they built it, you know. I find chaos is more spontaneous. Like, shit just hit the fan. Not, hey, we're building up to this, and we built this culmination moment, and it was great. This is, okay, we're locking 8 people in a cage and just, you know, throwing away the key. You know, last one alive gets to live.
Yeah, whoever uses everybody's teeth to pick the lock is the winner.
So, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's just tense, because that's how I feel every week when I watch it, is just tense. Because you're on the edge of your seat, you want to see what happens. And they've done the show justice in this 8th season, just because you know a lot of shows that, like, for instance, Arrow ends next year. Hopefully we get a great season, but a lot of times, you know, when we have a show that's on its way out, we don't always get the best product. And I think what they did is they're going out with the best product and the best episodes, and they're giving the fans what they want. I mean, whether you're right, wrong, you don't care, I still think we're getting just as much fan service like we do in the movies.
Well, with that being said, my name is B. Frank.
And I'm Travis.
And we are worth the admission.
Take care. See you in, 10 days? A couple days?
10 days.
Yes, coming soon.
Give or take.
Coming soon. I'm excited.